fundamentally.
Well, let's talk about what you can talk about to what Neuralink is, because the last time you were here, we really couldn't discuss it. And then there was I guess, a press release or something that sort of outlined.
Yeah, sure.
That had happened quite a bit after the last time you were here. So what exactly is it? How do you do what happens if someone ultimately does get a Neuralink installed? What will take place?
Well, for version 1 of the device, it would be basically implanted in your skull. So, but it would be flush with your skull. So you basically take out a chunk of skull, put the Neuralink device in there. You'd put the electrode, you'd insert the electrode threads very carefully into the brain, and then you stitch it up, and you wouldn't even know that somebody has it. So then it can interface basically anywhere in your brain. So it could be something that helps cure, say, eyesight, like returns your eyesight, even if you've like lost your optic nerve type of thing.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Hearing, obviously. I mean, pretty much anything that it could, in principle, fix almost anything that is wrong with the brain, and it could restore limb functionality. So if you've got interface into the motor cortex, and then an implant that's that's like a microcontroller in your muscle groups, you could then create a sort of a neural shunt that restores somebody who's a quadriplegic to full functionality. Like they can walk around, be normal.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So
maybe slightly better.
Slightly better?
Over time, yes.
You mean with future iterations?
Yeah. Like the $6 million man. Although these days that doesn't seem like
cheap.
much. Yeah. Yeah.
$6 billion man.
Yeah.
So the hole would be small. How big would the hole be that you have to drill and then replace with this piece? It's only one hole?
Well, yeah, the device we're working on right now is about an inch in diameter. And your skull's pretty thick, by the way. So skulls are...
Mine is, for sure.
It might actually literally be. I mean, if you're a big guy, your skull is actually fairly thick. Skull's is 7 to 14 millimeters.
Mm.
So
that's probably a couple of inches.
A half inch, half inch thick skull-ish. Yeah. So that's a fair bit of we got quite a coconut going on there. It's not like some eggshell.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
So you basically implant the device.
And so it would be like a 1 inch square, or 1 inch in diameter.
Yeah, so
an inch circle, like a circular.
Yeah, I think like a smartwatch or something like that, or.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take this 1 inch diameter, like ice fishing, right? You ever go ice fishing?
No, but I'd like to.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
So you basically take an auger and you drill through the surface of the ice.
Yeah.
And you create a small hole, and you can dunk your line in there. So this is like that. You're ice fishing on the top of your skull, and then you cork it.
Yeah, and you replace that, say, 1 inch diameter piece of skull with this Neuralink device, and that has a battery and a Bluetooth and a inductive charger, and then you also got to insert the electrodes. So the electrodes are very carefully inserted with our robot that we developed. It's very carefully putting in the electrodes and avoiding any veins or arteries. So it doesn't create trauma.
So through this 1 inch diameter device, electrodes be inserted, and they will find their way
like tiny wires, basically.
Tiny wires.
Tiny wires.
And they'll find their way to specific areas of the brain to stimulate?
No, you literally put them where they're supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should insert.
How long will these wires be?
I mean, they usually go in depending on where it is, 2 or 3 millimeters.
So they just find the spots.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, then you put the device in, and that gets that replaces the little piece of skull that was taken out, and then you you stitch up the hole, and you just have a little scar, and that's it.
Will
And
this
then-
be replaceable or reversible?
Yes.
Like if someone can't take it
Yeah,
anymore?
yeah, you can
I'm too
take-
smart. I can't take it.
Yeah, you can totally take it out.
And what is besides restoring limb function and eyesight and hearing, which are all amazing, is there any cognitive benefits that you anticipate from something like this?
Yeah, I mean, you could for sure. I mean, basically, it's a generalized sort of thing for fixing any kind of brain injury. In principle, like if you've got like severe epilepsy or something like that, it could just sort of stop the epilepsy from occurring. Like it could detect it in real time and then fire a counter pulse and stop the epilepsy. I mean, there's a whole range of brain injuries. Like somebody gets a stroke, they could lose the ability to speak. That could also be fixed. So if you've got like stroke damage, or if you lose, say, muscle control over part of your face or something like that, I think. And then when you get old, you tend to, if you get like, Alzheimer's or something like that, then you lose memory, and this could help you with, restoring your memory, that kind of thing.
Restoring memory. And what is happening that's allowing it to do that? Like the wires, these small wires,
Yeah.
are stimulating these areas of the brain. And then is it that the areas of the brain they're losing some sort of electrical force? Like what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So it's like think of it as like a bunch of circuits, and there's some like circuits that are broken, and we can like fix those circuits. It's a substitute for those circuits.
And so a specific frequency will go through this.
Yeah, it's just
Specific in that is the process figuring out how much or how little has to be, how much these areas of the brain have to be juiced up.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of work to do. So when I say, we've got a shot at probably putting it in a person in, within a year, I think that's exactly what I mean. I think we have a chance of putting it in someone and having them be healthy and restoring some functionality that they've lost.
The fear is that eventually you're gonna have to cut the whole top of someone's head off and put a new top
Sure.
with a whole bunch of wires if you want to get, the real turbocharged version, the P100D of brain stimulation.
I mean, ultimately, if you want to go with full AI symbiosis, you'll probably want to do something like that.
Symbiosis is a scary word when it comes to AI.
It's optional.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
It's just, once you enjoy the Dr. Manhattan lifestyle, once you become a god, seems very, very unlikely you're going to want to go back to being stupid again. I mean, you literally could fundamentally change the way human beings interface with each other.
Yes.
Yes.
You wouldn't need to talk.
I'm so scared of that, but so excited about it at the same time. Is that weird?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of the paths to, like think like what are like AI is getting better and better. So now let's assume it's sort of like a benign AI scenario. Even in a benign scenario, we're kind of left behind. We're not along for the ride. We're just too dumb.
Right.
So how do you go along for the ride? Yeah, so you can't beat him, join him. So, and we're already a cyborg to some degree, right? Because you've got your phone, you've got your laptop,
Glasses.
you got your
Sure.
electronic devices.
Yeah.
I mean, today, if your phone, if you don't bring your phone along, it's like you have missing limb syndrome. It's like feels like something's really missing. So we're already partly partly a cyborg or an AI symbiote, essentially. It's just that the data rate to the electronics is slow. So especially output, like you're just going with your thumbs. I mean, like, what's your data rate? maybe optimistically 100 bits per second. That's being generous. And now the computer can communicate at like, 100 terabits. So certainly, gigabits are trivial at this point. So this is like, basically your computer could do things a million times faster. Or at a certain point, it's like the AI is like talking to a tree. Okay, it's just boring. You can talk to a tree. It's not very entertaining. So if you can solve the data rate issue and especially output but input too, then you can improve the symbiosis that is already occurring between man and machine.
So you can improve it in when you said you won't have to talk to each other anymore. We used to joke around about that. I've joked around about that a million times on this podcast, that one day in the future there's going to come a time where you can read each other's minds.
Yeah.
And
well,
you'll be able to interface with each other in some sort of a non-verbal, non-physical way where you will transfer data back and forth to each other without having to actually use your mouth and make noises.
Exactly. So what happens when let's say you've got some complex idea that you're trying to convey to somebody else, and how do you do that? Well, your brain spends a lot of effort compressing a complex concept into words, and there's a lot of loss, information loss that occurs when compressing a complex concept into words. And then you say those words are then interpreted, then they're decompressed by the person who is listening, and they will at best get a very incomplete understanding of what you're trying to convey. It's very difficult to convey a complex concept with precision because you've got compression, decompression. You may not even have heard all the words correctly, and so communication is difficult. What we have here is a failure to communicate. It's Cool Aunt Luke.
Yes, and there's a great movie.
Yeah, great movie.
And there's an interpretation factor too. Like you can choose to interpret certain series of words in different ways, and they're dependent upon tone, dependent upon social cues, even facial expressions, sarcasm. There's a lot of variables.
Sarcasm is difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I've said is like that there could be potentially a universal language that's created through computers that particularly young kids would pick up very quickly. Like my kids do TikTok and all this jazz, and I don't know what they're doing. They just know how to do it, and they know how to do it really quickly. Like they learn really quickly, and they show me how to edit things. And it's if you taught a child from first grade on how to use some new universal language, I mean, essentially like a Rosetta Stone, and something that's done that interprets your thoughts, and you can convey your thoughts with no room for interpretation, with clear, very clear, where you know what a person's saying, and you can tell them what you're saying, and there's no need for noises, no need for mouth noises, no need for these sort of accepted ways that we've sort of evolved to make sounds that we all agree. We through our cultural dictionary and we agree or certain we could bypass all that.
Yeah, I mean, you can still do it for
fun,
sentimental reasons,
right? Like campfires.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need campfires. You don't need to roast marshmallows, but it's kind of fun.
Right.
I think you would, in principle, be able to communicate very quickly and with far more precision ideas. And language would, I'm not sure what would happen to language. But you could probably, in a situation like this, you would be able to it would be kind of like the Matrix. You want to speak a different language, no problem.
Right.
We'll just download the program.
Whew. Right. So at least for the first few iterations, we'll just be able to use, like, I know that Google has some of their Pixel buds have the ability to interpret languages in real time. Like,
sure.
Yeah, you can hear it, and it'll play things back to you in whatever language you choose. So it'll be something along those lines.
Yeah.
For the first few iterations.
Well, the first few iterations are. I mean, what I'm talking about is like in the limit over time. With a lot of development. The first few iterations, really, in the first few versions, all we're going to be trying to do is solve brain injuries. So it's like don't worry that it's not going to sneak up on you. This will take a while.
How many years before you don't have to talk?
If the development continues to accelerate, then maybe like 5 years, 5 to 10 years.
That's quick. That's really quick.
That's the best case scenario.
No talking anymore in 5 years.
Best case scenario. But 10 years more like it.
I've always speculated that aliens could potentially be us in the future, because if you look at like the size of their heads and the fact that they have very little muscle and they don't use their mouth anymore, they have this tiny little. I mean, the archetypal alien that you see in like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they're like if you went from like Australopithecus or ancient hominid to us, what's the difference? Less hair, less muscle, bigger head, and then you just keep going. 1,000, 1,000,000, whatever year, or 5 years, whatever happens when Neuralink goes online, and then we slowly start to adapt to this new way of being, where we don't use our muscles anymore. We have this gigantic head. We can talk without words.
You could also save state. And
Save state?
Save state, like save your brain state, like a saved game in a video game.
Whoa. like if you want to swap from Windows 95 to
you probably a little better than that, but yeah.
I think we are Windows 95 right now.
Yeah. From a future perspective, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you could save state and restore that state into a biological being if you wanted to in the future. In principle, there's like nothing like from a physics standpoint that prevents us. Now you'd be a little different, but then you're also a little different when you wake up in the morning from yesterday, and you're a little different. In fact, if you say like you 5 years ago versus you today, is quite a big difference.
Yes.
So you'd be substantially you. I mean, you'd certainly think you're you.
But the idea of saving yourself and then transforming that into some sort of a biological state. Like you could hang out with 30-year-old you.
I mean, the possibilities are endless.
That's so weird.
I mean, just think like how your phone you can record videos on your phone. Like there's no way you could remember a video as accurately as your phone or a camera could. So now if you've got like some version 10 Neuralink whatever far in the future. You could recall everything, just like it's a movie.
Crystal clear.
Including the entire sensory experience.
Emotions. Everything.
And play it back.
Do you think you'll be able to share?
You can edit it.
Edit it.
Yeah.
So you can change your past?
You could change what you think was your past, yeah.
Well, so if you had like a traumatic
this whole thing
experience,
right now could be a replayed memory.
It could be.
Yeah.
It may be. What's the odds of this being a replayed memory? If you had to guess. It's more than 50%.
There's no way to assign a probability with accuracy here.
Right, but roughly. If you just had just gut instinct.
Well, I don't have a Neuralink in my brain, so I'd say right now 0%. But at the point at which you do have a Neuralink, then it rises above 0%.
The idea that we're experiencing some sort of a preserved memory is, even though it's still the same, it's not comforting, right? For some reason, when people talk about simulation theory, they talk about the potential for this currently being a simulation. Even though your life might be wonderful, you might be in love, you might love your career, you might have great friends, but it's not comforting to know that this experience somehow or another doesn't exist in a material form that you can knock on.
Feels real, doesn't it?
Feels real, but if it's not, the idea that it's not is for some strange reason disconcerting.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it should be disconcerting, because then if this is not real, what is?
Right.
But there's that old sort of thought experiment of like, how do you know you're not a brain in a vat? Right now, here's the thing: you are a brain in a vat. Then that vat is your skull.
Yes.
And everything you see, feel, hear, everything, all your senses are electrical signals. Everything is an electrical signal to a brain in a vat, where the vat is your skull.
And all your hormones, all your neurotransmitters, all these things are drugs. Adrenaline's a drug. Dopamine's a drug. Sure. You're a drug factory. You're constantly changing your state with love and oxytocin and beauty.
Sure.
Changes your state. Great music changes your state.
Absolutely. And here's another sort of interesting idea, which is, because you could say, like, where did consciousness arise? Well, assuming you believe the belief in physics, which appears to be true, then the universe started off as basically quarks and leptons, and it quickly became hydrogen and helium, lithium, like basically elements of the periodic table. But it was like mostly hydrogen, basically. And then over a long period of time, 13.8 billion years later, that hydrogen became sentient. So where along the way where is consciousness? What's the line of consciousness and not consciousness between hydrogen and here?
Right. When do we call it? When do we call it consciousness? Yeah. I was watching a video today that we played on a podcast earlier of a monkey riding a motorcycle down the street, jumps off the motorcycle and tries to steal a baby.
Yeah, I saw that one. It went viral.
What is that monkey conscious? It seems like it is. It seems like it had a plan. It was riding a fucking motorcycle and then jumped off the motorcycle to try to steal a baby. Seems pretty...
The one that just dragged the baby down the street pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems pretty conscious. Right?
There's definitely some degree of consciousness there.
Yeah, it's not a worm. It seems to be on another level. Yeah. And it's going to keep going. And that's the real concern when people think about the potential future versions of human beings, especially when you consider symbiotic relationship to artificial intelligence, it will be unrecognizable. That one day we'll be so far removed from what this is. We'll look back on this the way we look back now on, simple organisms that we evolved from. And then it won't be that far in the future that we do have this view back.
Well, I hope consciousness propagates into the future and gets more sophisticated and complex, and that it understands the questions to ask about the universe.
Do you think that's the case? As a human being, as yourself, you're clearly trying to make conscious decisions to be a better version of you, right? This is the idea of like getting rid of your possessions and realizing that you're trying to, like, I don't like this. I will try to improve this. I would try to do a better version of the way I interface with reality. That this is always the way things are. If you're moving in some sort of a direction where you're trying to improve things, you're always going to move into this new place where you look back in the old place and go, I was doing it wrong back then. So this is an accelerated version of that, a super accelerated version of that.
I mean, you don't always improve, but you can aspire to improve. You can aspire to be less wrong.
Yeah.
This is I think the tools of physics are very powerful. Like, just assume you're wrong and your goal is to be less wrong. I don't think you're going to, if you succeed every day in being less wrong, but, if you're going to succeed in being less wrong, most of the time you're doing great.
That's a great way of putting it. Aspire to be less wrong. Mm-hmm. But then when, people look back in nostalgia about simpler times, there's that too. It's very romantic and exciting to look back on campfires.
But you can still have a campfire.
Yes.
Yeah.
But will you appreciate it when you're a super nerd, when you're connected to the grid and you have some skull cap in place of the top of your head and it's interfacing with the international language that the rest of the universe now enjoys communication with people? And we're...
Yeah, sure. I think so. Yeah, I like campfires.
Tell me about the hearing aids, because you took them out when you got in, put the headphones on. And this is from listening to music too loud.
No, That
No.
would you'd think.
No.
You'd think. No, I have a genetic problem that I didn't know about until 3 years ago, and so it's not. And I went to an audiologist. Well, here's what happened. I started noticing. Tina and I had been together for a couple of years. I started noticing I was saying, "Excuse me, what?" I wouldn't hear stuff, or she would say something that I couldn't remember hearing, and I brought it up to her and I said, do you think I ask you to repeat something a lot? She says, no, it doesn't really bother me. And then says, but the TV is very loud. I said, really? The TV is very loud. I said, oh, I don't even realize that. So I went to an audiologist, and lo and behold, my grandmother on my dad's side was completely deaf almost from her teens. So I have some of this, but it's been okay. Only as you get older, everything, the levels, to see like here's a level where you can hear everything, and I was already kind of there. So now it's just due to age, just everything goes down a bit, and so I'm missing 1K and 1 kilohertz. I'm missing different tones. And so I went to an audiologist and she said, well, it's very mild, but yeah, this can make you repeat stuff, and it will get worse over time. And what actually happens to a lot of men in particular is they become very isolated from the world. They don't even realize that they have a hearing problem. And now the difference between having them in and taking them out is massive. I can hear how much less it is. Another clue was that I have for all my podcast radio work, I have headphone, but I put an extra amplifier on it. You can still hear it today. Sometimes I'm talking and then it'll leak just a little bit because I have it so loud. Now that's not going to damage my ears, but the problem with anything you put in your ears, you can't hear the sound anymore. And I like our processing, our EQ. It's very important to me, so I can hear that without the hearing aids, but not with the hearing aids.
Oh, that's interesting. So the hearing aids give you a different kind of sound?
Well, so today's hearing aid is not your grandpa's, geriatric, brown, goopy-looking piece of shit that makes you look like just a total moron. Like,
how dare you? You did the face and
I
everything.
did the face. Hey, I have disability here. I get a victim card, okay?
You could get probably a plate.
Boundaries,
Special
Adam,
plate.
boundaries. Yeah, okay. So these are the WILDEST Evoke. These have 35 channels of compressor limiter, multiple settings. It's an in-ear, so it goes right into my ear. I still have a little bleed through from the outside world, but so usually an audiologist sticks this thing in your ears, makes you do all the tests, and then they'll sit there and they'll sit across from you, and they're going to program it so that you can then hear a normal sound, which is you have to be a trained professional. It's very hard to fix someone who has never heard what is proper.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, I'm a little different, and I'm also way into sound, and so it's a whole racket. These things are $3,500. It's a huge racket. And the way they do it is the manufacturer, you can't buy it from them directly or from retail. You can only buy it through an audiologist, so they're already getting half the money, the $1,500 at least, and you have to have an appointment, so there's all this money that goes on top. And then you come back after a couple months and they tweak it and you come back again. So I said, look, see who I am. I've told you what I do. Give me the fucking software. She said, oh, no, I was going to give it to you. I just wanted to do one session with you. Said, you have to have this. So I have pre-programmed like 6 different programs. So I can do one just for music. I can do one for television. One for social situations, and I have one so I did it all myself. All these 35 different channels of compressor limiter. So when I'm walking around, what I hear on my ears is like a radio show, like the sound, like when I'm talking right now, I hear my own voice. It all resonates because I've jacked all that up. So I've made my own reality of sound.
Wow.
But I also have one, I can set it to a setting in the mall, I can hear a conversation from 50 feet away.
Whoa.
It was my eavesdropping setting.
Now,
the only thing that doesn't work is you can't have headphones, because that doesn't work, having the hearing aids in with the headphones.
With the sound.
Yeah, because you're blasting into the microphone, and it really doesn't work.
That's crazy, though, that you could hear people having a conversation 50 feet away. Can you focus in on people?
By turning my head? By turning my head.
Wow.
There's a lot you can focus. You can have it automatic. So the problem is the way I've set it up. you can drop a pen there. If I don't see it, I might hear it over there.
Yeah.
Now, that's always going to be a problem. They have an algorithm that will try to guess where the sound is from and tell your ears that. So basically, I'm not the guy you want in the battlefield. It's like
Telling you where the
"Something over
shots
there."
are being fired from. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I just can't hear it.
Wow.
But just for so it just doesn't work with headphones. That's why I take them out.
It's amazing though. They sound incredibly potent. Like,
Oh yeah.
you remember? I mean, you know what real sound sounds like.
Yes.
Does everything sound real to you, or
Yes.
is there a?
Well, what you automatically do, because I was able to do it, is if I'm having I have different settings for different situations. So if I'm at home, it's relatively quiet, or we have some music on, or TV or whatever. I have the Tina frequency, which is kind of like 1 kilohertz, and that's where I hear her better, and so that's jacked up a little bit. And then if I hear you talk, I can hear it'll be a little. I can hear it's not exactly you; it's a little too tinny, maybe.
Oh.
So, but that's just me. I mean, that's not everyone's experience, of course. But to me, the disability has become an incredible joy because I have like virtual reality on my head all the time.
I was just saying that you could probably fuck with someone's voice like a Snapchat filter.
Well,
and make them sound like a cartoon.
It's really advanced. I mean, you can connect to an iPhone, so you can stream wirelessly. You can do like if you're driving with directions with the maps, then you can just be talking, and in your ear, all of a sudden it's like, hit the light, turn right. No one else hears it. There's no wires, no nothing. I got you wouldn't even know I had them in unless you look. Yeah,
We're becoming cyborgs.
Oh no, that's although I'm against it. That is a part of the road to transhumanism.
Right, but how can you say you're against it where you're enjoying this thing?
This to me is more. It's not a replacement. It's an enhancement.
Yes.
So, and
But that's how they're going to get us. When the first dude gets his legs removed for artificial carbon fiber legs that you could feel, but that can run
that'll
60
happen.
miles an hour. When the first guy gets his legs removed in favor of new legs, that's when we're going to go, holy shit.
Whenever I tell my radio buddies about my hearing aids, they're always like, "Oh, that's fucking cool."
It's cool.
I want that too. I want that.
Don't get me wrong. I'm just looking at the bleak landscape ahead of us.
By the way, beware. I want to say something because there's a lot of. They're not called hearing aids. They're called hearing amplifiers. They have some fuzzy legal language that are coming on the market. That you put all the way in your ear. The rechargeables. They've got a whole bunch of them. They're much, much cheaper. From an audio standpoint, I've done it for 40 years. That's not the way you want to go if you seriously want to know if you want to hear properly again. So see an audiologist is what I'm saying. And there's lots of different, it's not all $3,500. It's more expensive, but I just recommend that self-testing is not a good idea.
One of the best pool players in the world is a guy named Shane Van Boening. And Shane is deaf. He was born deaf. And when he plays, he shuts his hearing aids off. And it's a world of silence. And he's just playing in complete, total silence. And when he does that, when he shuts his hearing aid off, he feels like he's got super concentration. Like it doesn't matter what else is going on. All he's doing is just focusing on the balls. And there's that sense doesn't exist. So he's hyper focused on other things. And I notice that sometimes when I walk with noise canceling headsets
Same
on,
thing. It'll do similar.
I'll smell things more.
Well, that's kind of well known. Is that different parts of your body compensate for if something's missing.
You're more tuned in. You're more tuned in. Yeah. Like, look, let's pay attention here. The ears are offline. A mountain lion could be running behind you, and you're listening to fucking All Things Considered.
And that's, think about it. If you can't hear the mountain lion frequencies anymore, and today's mountain lion is, car engine, there's all kinds of stuff that's you can't hear it. It's dangerous. And,
it is.
And you don't know. You just slip into it. I had no idea until, we have a new relationship, so we've been living together for a couple of years, and luckily, we're completely open and honest. Like, hey, I think is this fucked up? Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
It's so cool that exists, though. I mean, that's an elegant solution, and for someone like you, it actually gives you a chance to tinker with shit, and I'm sure you really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love that.
I really do.
I can tell when you talk about it.
It's a small thing, but
even when you talked about the apps on your phone, you're so excited about that.
There's
no border wall. You get in a boat. You row over there. It takes 3 minutes.
Or you can parkour. I recently posted up a bunch of videos of people parkouring over that wall.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Look, I admire ingenuity. I admire people that find solutions to problems. And watching that guy scale that goddamn wall like Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, they're coming up with weird ways. Like I saw some people using powdered titanium to melt the bars on one of the slats.
Powdered titanium.
Again, I had to research it. Basically, it's powdered titanium burns at a very high rate, and when you start it, it's kind of hard to put it out. So they made this hole in this wall with some sort of powdered titanium mix.
That's like that shit. What was that shit that they were talking about with 9/11, where all the conspiracy theorists thought that it melted steel? God damn it!
Pyrene or something.
Pyrite?
Pyrite.
Is that it?
A tanner, something like that. I don't know.
Tannerite?
A word just popped in my head. I don't know if that's the one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the stuff that you blow shit up with.
Right now they sell these things they call breech pens, and there's for tactical applications. There's these pens that be sticks that you start and you can burn chains open and stuff like that with them.
Really?
Yeah. So it's basically a ghetto version of that is what they're using, in some of these places. I know. I mean, the wall as they're making it, and speaking to some of the Border Patrol agents that I know, it does its job as far as slowing people down. So there's not an overflow of people coming.
Yeah,
through.
it's not like yeah.
Yeah.
But what would happen if it was that? That's
bonsai.
Yeah. What would happen if there was no border? Everybody's like, Mexico's the United States. United States is Mexico. Have a good time.
Yeah, that would be chaotic, of course.
For how long though? 10 years?
I don't know.
How long? I mean, once everybody got in.
Yeah, that would be
and
bad.
then other people would go there.
Yeah.
I mean, what if the United States and Mexico came to a deal and they said, listen, we'll call. Wasn't there a thing that they were going to do? There was a North American agreement. There was they were trying to do that with the United States and
set up a single currency.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theories around the Amero.
Yes, there was something like that. Like they were going to do it with Canada. We were all going to become one nation.
I could see it with Canada, but maybe not, Mexico.
Well, look, we could all spread all the good around.
Yeah.
And then also, look, Mexico's got some awesome spots. Wouldn't it be great if U.S. industry moved in there?
And lithium.
Yes, and lithium. Maybe that's going to help.
Lithium.
Well, Colombia did a great job in eradicating all the problems with narcotics.
I think it is really, well, not all of them, because they still have a guerrilla group down there that recently, the FARC, that went amnesty, and then they got active again. But there's still a lot of cocaine being produced there.
Yeah. But it's nothing like when Escobar.
No.
What did they do?
Well, they were facing just a few criminal groups, large ones, and Mexico is facing a lot of them.
That's interesting.
They have the U.S. right next door that is pumping money into the issue directly.
They don't have to fly in.
No.
Yeah, it's not a long plane flight. It's a short walk.
Also, Mexico's a pretty big country. I think people kind of miss that also. It's a pretty big country.
It's a pretty big country. Do you remember when there was a CIA drug plane that had several tons of cocaine on it and it crashed because the Mexican government wouldn't let them land and refuel?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all sorts of conspiracy theories are around.
Well, that was a real CIA drug plane that had been to Guantanamo Bay at least twice.
Yeah.
It was documented.
Yeah.
And they, for whatever reason,
I mean,
we're flying back with a lot of coke. Look at that. Look at all that coke.
I imagine government groups everywhere have agents.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
You have cowboys. When people are trying to say the CIA brings in drugs, no. It's people who work for the CIA realize they can make a shitload of money if they bring in drugs, and they pass that money around and they work it out. But the CIA itself does not bring in drugs.
Yeah. Customs and Border Protection agents, and just Homeland Security as an agency has the most corruption charges as far as all law enforcement agencies.
Do they really?
Yeah, federal charges for corruption because they are on the border and there's a lot of money on the border. Of course, that's why, right?
It totally makes sense.
And I mean, maybe it was a CIA guy that said, can make some money through here.
That was the whole Barry Seals thing, that Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Was it called Made in America, I think?
Yeah, Made in America.
That was about bringing in drugs with cowboys that work for the CIA.
Yeah, I mean, when I was working down there in Mexico, and I got to see different agencies that we would work with, all of a sudden we're like, hey, can you guys just go like look over there or just move over there? Like what's going on? And you would see like some sort of okay, let's go. Like you don't know what's going on, you know. But
Plane lands, plane takes off.
plane lands,
Nobody
plane
saw
takes off.
nothing.
Nobody saw nothing. You know, money exchanges and just and you're just an agent. You know, just in the background.
Well, that's the thing that's so scary about what's going on with the cartels is that the quantity of money is so extraordinary now.
Yeah.
It's almost like they can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, they have their own cell phone networks in some places.
What?
Yeah.
What's it called?
That'd be good if I knew, but they're
What kind of coverage they have? They got
pretty
a good
good
plan?
coverage. Pretty good coverage in their areas. I mean, they dismantled some cell phone networks in the past. Also, like whole cities with hidden cameras that are cartel controlled to see who goes in and out of the towns.
Wow.
Like
So it's sophisticated.
Oh yeah. So Mexican government is working with uniformed agents patrolling in pickup trucks in the back. And these guys are living in 2025 and using drones to surveil the patrols in the area. And they're using their own cell phone network so they don't have to be worried about government tapping into their communications. They're utilizing encrypted phone technology that is available now commercially throughout the world to get around some of these things. And they're working. They're constantly evolving in how they work. You know, I remember the first time I was working in Baja, and all the cartel guys would move around in Suburbans dressed like federal agents, and they would look exactly like the legit federal agents, or they were federal agents with the cartel guys. So you would.
Oh my God! So they'd be together.
Yeah, and then we started working with the military, and the military didn't give a shit who you were. They would stop everybody, shoot everybody, and the guys immediately saying, "Oh, now we're using taxi cabs to move around and different types of cars, and we're gonna paint the vans like taxi vans, or we're gonna move around in ambulances." So they changed their tactics. So we were always after these convoys of Suburbans, and now they're doing something else. So that's how they evolve. They just you're trying to go after them with a hammer, and these guys are mosquitoes.
Does it make you want to move to Canada?
No, not at all.
That's the furthest you can get away from all the chaos. But it must be going on up there as well, right? They must have a.
So I interviewed a smuggler, a coyote, for one of the articles I wrote, and he asked him directly, like, what do you think about the border wall and the immigration policies of this current administration? He says, "Oh, it's good for business. It makes it seem like it's harder to put people in the United States." So, I mean, that wall is pretty hard. Like, how do you do it? I fly them to Canada and they walk down.
Well, we talked about it before that the border of the United States is a wall to Mexico. The border from the United States to Canada is a giant clearing that's 100 yards wide. It's real clear. You can see it. Like, it's almost like they make it easy. Hey, just go right here.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people that want to get into the U.S., you hear numbers from $8,000 to $15,000 depending on who you are, what you're trying to do, how you're trying to get up here, as far as being smuggled up. And he's like, Mexican passport. Get a Mexican passport if you're Mexican. We'll get you a Mexican passport. We'll put $2,000 in an account somewhere. So if they want to verify if you're financially solvent, they will check that, and just fly to Canada and just walk down. And that's what we do.
I found out about your restaurant online. I was just Googling new places to go for dinner. And I don't know, it was like maybe a couple years ago. And I was Googling steakhouses, and then I saw that you specialize in dry-aged steaks. And I had a steak that you cooked once that was more than a year. Mm-hmm. Dry-aged was just so... It was delicious, but it was really weird. I mean,
it's weird.
It doesn't
it's
taste
different.
Anything like a regular steak. Yeah. It tastes like, it's like a different animal. Yeah. It's like you're eating something, some exotic animal.
And that's what I like to do. I mean, more age doesn't necessarily mean better, but, it's just different. And that's, for me as a chef, I call my dry age room an environmental chamber.
I think there's a picture on Instagram of me and Adam in the basement fucking
Meat locker.
weird meat room that you've got, and it's for people that have never been to a dry aging room. It's very odd. There's fans blowing around. Everything's a very specific temperature. You got all these different things labeled as far as like what date it was put in there, and for people who haven't seen dry aging, it's very odd too, because you're like, hey, what is wrong with that meat?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the outside crust of it. You got here's a photo of it, folks. You can see it in the background of the. It's not working. We got a technical. There it is. So, for folks, you can see it in the background. The meat has like a black crust to it, and then you slice that crust off. What do you do with the crust?
Get rid of it.
But is it edible?
It's not enjoyable.
What about for dogs?
I wouldn't give something a dog I wouldn't eat myself. So,
Wow. You would
know.
eat dog food?
What's that?
Do you eat dog food?
No.
But you feed your dog food?
I don't have a dog. I wish I did,
Okay.
to be honest with you.
I have
but-
a dog, and he eats dog food.
Yeah.
I love him to death. But he actually eats ground elk,
But-
mixed in with regular dog food.
Even that, I mean, it gets a white ash, which is almost like I call it there's a friendly oxidation, I referred to it in the whole process, okay?
Is that white ash like the same as you get on outside of salami?
It's like that. It's part of it. It's a mold. And the whole concept behind dry aging, it's based on three things. It's air velocity, temperature, and humidity.
Air velocity.
Yes. And it's really important. I like to, when I teach people about dry aging, it's like if you were on a beach in Jamaica and there was no wind and you just start getting sweat and you're just uncomfortable. But then if trade winds went through, it would have, at the same temperature, it would evaporate the water off your skin. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to, at the right ratio, evaporate the water off the surface so it doesn't get like a smelly, stinky, bad mold, and dehydrate it slowly. What it does is it concentrates the flavor. It transforms the amino acids into a whole different compound and changes the flavor altogether. And then also enzymes within the meat through the process of rigor mortis. It breaks down so it becomes more tender. So you get flavor enhancement, you get tenderization, and it just blows it away.
So what does it do to the amino acids?
It transforms it into a whole nother compound. It's like a flavor. It's like when we talk. Have you ever heard of like concept of like Maillard reaction?
Yes, but I don't know what it means anymore. I've heard
Well,
the expression, but I forgot what it means.
Yeah, the Maillard reaction is basically like when you're cooking something. What ends up happening?
Spell it?
God, I'm the worst speller.
Is it Mylar?
No, Maillard.
Right,
Okay.
Maillard. Okay.
Maillard. Okay, I said Maillard. Okay, that's what I know as. So, whenever you're browning or you're doing different things at different rates, amino acids transform into different things, and you get different flavor compounds, and that's really what happens, with meat. So if I dry age, you have to handle dry age meat a lot differently. You can't go out and say, okay, I'm going to slow cook this once it's dry age, because then it develops a really nasty kind of like funky flavor. But if you cook it under high heat, like really aggressive, like that's why you have steakhouse broilers, there's something about that browning of that dry aged meat that transforms it, just like awakens your senses.
That's interesting. So you don't slow cook dry aged meat?
No, I don't. It gets livery. It's almost like a livery. So if
Really?
Yeah, I don't even, if anybody wants dry age above medium, I try to talk them out. I'll cook it any way you want. But if you start cooking it past medium, it's almost like, seeing someone like transform, like it just ages. Like when you cook it a long time, it just ages and just turns into something else. It's
Those
just
people
nasty.
who want well done steak are offensive. You should go and eat Burger King, you monsters. What's wrong with you? When I go to dinner with someone, they order well done steak, I just cringe. I'm like, who am I eating?
Yeah, it's a cultural thing I noticed too with some people. Like they just want to cook. But if they want a well done steak, then I recommend a wet aged steak to do well done, because at least you have a fighting chance for some type of flavor that would
But
be
it's
appealing.
weird. Like, why are you eating steak?
Yep.
It's
It's true.
like,
It's true.
It's just
That's for me.
for everybody. It's a criminal. It's a
Yeah.
criminal act. You're wasting a piece of
It's
meat.
true. I kind of look the other way. I mean, it's
What do you want,
it's
ketchup
painful.
with that?
Yeah, it's painful for me.
Yeah.
It's painful.
I mean, some people grew up eating well done steak, and that's how they like it. Joey Diaz eats medium well. Medium well. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? It just doesn't taste as good. And it's also, there's an art to the perfect temperature, right? What's the perfect internal temperature of a medium rare steak? Like, what should it be, like 135 or something?
No, it's a bit less, but it's not necessarily the temperature. It's kind of like how you get there. Okay, let me explain that to you. So
Okay.
I have this method where, particularly for thicker steaks, where I'll cook it, I start the cooking, and then I get it to about 105 degrees, and then I allow it to rest at 105. And what ends up happening is I call the method just like tempering of the meat, and it basically, it starts transmitting the temperature in towards the center, and then I put it back in again, and then it'll heat up. The temperature, if you like take it, I would say for medium rare, even though like on many logs we'll say, okay, 120, 125 is rare, but it's not. You know, for me, if you're going to do that method, a solid medium rare will be about 120.
Really?
Yeah.
So why do they think 120 is rare? Like,
I don't really understand it exactly. You know, they'll get there. I think they're overshooting it, particularly. For me, it's not rare. Like rare is 110 using the method that I use.
now, different people have different methods, which is really what's fascinating about cooking meat. I ate at a couple times. I've eaten at Bazaar Meats in Vegas, which is a fantastic restaurant.
Yes, fantastic.
One of
Amazing
my-
chef,
yeah.
Jose Andres. Amazing.
It's an amazing place too. When you walk in there, it's just visually, it's really interesting because they have these grills with live logs. I mean, they take not live, obviously, but they take logs. They're cooking all over fire, and they have these grates, these grill grates that rise and lower. And you know, you could see how they're doing it when you walk in the door. Like as you're walking to your table, you're passing by.
Yeah.
And this method of this idea of cooking over logs, like cooking over fire. Some people prefer that. And then some people like those crazy broilers where they're gas, but the broiler, it's on top and you slide the steak in and it's lowering down.
Exactly.
Like what is there a difference and why?
It really comes down to what your taste preference is. Okay, for me, like where I'm at right now, dry age without any type of smoke or wood is more preferable because I really want to taste the dry age. When you start getting into the wood fire cooking and you're burning logs that aren't burnt out, I like to cook basically my wood down to charcoal, like to ash, so that it's cleaner. Okay, so then you really taste the meat. When you start, you know, burning unburnt fuel, you know, the logs themselves, it has like these creosotes and different flavor compounds that will get on the meat. And it kind of just like coats your palate. So for dry, I like that for more wet age beef. Okay. But for the dry age, I really like cleaner. I like the steakhouse broiler. I like using a plancha, you know, and that's just like a heated piece of steel. It's like, you can do that in your home with a cast iron skillet.
It's called a plancha?
Plancha, you know, it's just kind of like this flat sheet of steel. Mm-hmm. And, it's all about crust development and surface contact. So like I like to cut the steaks on a saw. So it's a perfect line and it's all about contact, direct with the surface. It's about the browning of the meat. You know, if you're going to get in there and you're going to cook over live wood like that, he's doing it obviously right because he's amazing. But, you know, when you raise and lower the shelf, like I was saying, how I rest it, like you can start on the higher level of the heat and then you bring it up higher. The actual grill higher, and it's actually resting while still getting like the tickle of heat up there.
The tickle of heat.
Yeah, so I imagine like, so the flames won't actually touch the meat, it kind of tickles it. So it's kind of like, it kind of wisps at the bottom of the meat.
And so the way he's doing it at Bazaar Meats, he's using wet age steaks because that's how you would cook over that kind of...
I don't know if he's doing it. That's my personal preference. I mean, I think he does do some aging. It does do some aging, I believe, over there. So, I mean,
but it's just, I've watched YouTube videos on how to cook the perfect steak. You can watch 3 different videos from 3 different chefs, and there's 3 different methods. And you're like, well,
same thing about dry aging, though. I mean, all dry aging is not created equal. I call it an environmental chamber. So think about it like making cheese in France. You say, hey, I order goat cheese, and you think you'd get one type of goat cheese across the line. I'm creating an environment just like a cheesemaker, okay, that's unique to my own. I actually have the culture from like 15, 16 years ago that I've traveled with
Hold on. You put culture. So
Yeah, I have like a method. I basically take meat that has been aged and I bring those spores, if you will, from that aging meat because there's a mold on it. It's a friendly mold, and
it's a friendly mold.
yeah, I like it. I don't want to turn people off to it because this has been.
I didn't know that you brought your own mold.
Yeah, so
I just figured you just let it dry age.
It's not as simple as that. For me, like it's each environment. Again, so I get away from like someone can turn around and say like my dry age is incredibly clean at 100 days, 120 days. Because I get there slowly. My temperature is very low. I like to, dry age at 32 to 35 degrees. I like a higher humidity so I don't dehydrate the meat too soon. I like 85%, sometimes a little bit lower if I want to pull. It really depends,
So
and
when you
lots of fans.
So when you say like how are you bringing this culture in and how do you get it to interact with the meat?
I basically take pieces from the previous, dry age room and I bring it to that, and so I put it up by the fan and it will circulate spores.
You put it by the fan, like how do you do that?
Well, there's a fan in a cooler, and it's blowing around. It's like blowing so it'll blow the spores around the room. So my dry age has a unique flavor. You might try, some great guys who are like master purveyors in the Bronx, which is these guys are like my heroes. They taught me practically dry aging. They have their own flavor, so their dry age tastes different. Pat LaFrieda is another New York guy, does amazing dry age beef as well. His has a different flavor. So, for me, that's why I take a lot of pride, even though it's not the most cost-effective thing to carry, $100,000 in inventory, but it gives me a unique flavor profile that is my unique selling point for my restaurant.
So you have these pieces. So like those steaks that we saw in that photograph, you would take one of those dry aged steaks when it's ready, and then you would trim the pieces off. Then you use those pieces, those darkened pieces, which just has the spores on it, and that would. How do you know how much to put in there?
I put as much as I can. I don't want it too like clean in there. I want it to be an environment, so it's like a cave. I'll put a couple of trays in, and then I'm very tactile, so I'll touch the meat and I'll feel it, and I'll taste it. I'll see where we're at. I'm always cutting into a steak. It's like a lot like.
When you say you taste it, like you cook it?
Yeah, like I'll cut off a piece. Like how are we looking at 30 days? How are we looking at 50 days? So each room is different because, I had dry age room in Vegas, and we had ceilings that were 30, 35 feet. A lot of circulating air. It was just like. Had a different flavor profile. We were able to age 150 days, and that was like our sweet spot, okay? And then here in Hollywood, it's a lot less. I have a lower ceiling. It circulates differently. It's just, you have to really kind of taste. It's not just like, hey, I have dry age, or you go to the supermarket, it's like, oh, you sell dry age? Okay, great, I'll take it. And if you think that's what it tastes like, it's a good indicator of what it is. But if you really want to get, like, down to it, each dry age can taste a lot different.
That's really weird. So it's very experimental in a lot of ways.
It's constantly moving.
How long did it take you to dial it in?
Well, when I first did it, it was really by mistake, particularly the extended age, because we just weren't selling the meat. So I had a lot of pieces like left, back for a long time, and I was like. I cut into it and I tasted it. It's like, whoa, I mean, this is incredible. And I was talking to the old school guys who dry age, like, oh, you're wasting your money. Nobody wants steak over 42 days. It's just dehydrating, whatever. I was like, no, I think I'm onto something. There's a big difference here in the flavor. And as, we would see like a huge difference, a jump in flavor and like good quality, not like the funky stuff, like the full year. That's another level. It's
very good though. You say funky, and I just want to clarify to people, it is delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious, but
it's unusual. It's like you're eating something from Africa, like some unusual kudu meat or something like that, some strange game.
Yeah.
It's got.
And you don't want to eat too much. Like people want like a whole steak. I'm like, no, you just want 2 slices of it. Savor it like a fine wine. Understand it, get to know it, but don't like hunker down on it.
How come you don't want people to hunker down on it?
Because sometimes too much of a good thing is not good. Okay. And I say the same thing also for the Japanese Wagyu. Like, oh, you see all that fat and the marbleization. It's incredibly rich. And if you eat it like a Westerner, it's not right. It's too much. So certain steaks, certain types of beef, you should be eating only a small amount and appreciating it. Anything more, like it's just, I don't know, it gets me, it's too much for me.
When did people start dry aging a year? Like when did this really, because this is not something, I mean, obviously I know nothing about restaurants other than that they're great. But when I had heard about dry aging, I would hear like 30 days dry age, 60 days dry age. I never heard of a year. Like, is this a new thing?
They were doing it in Spain for some time, particularly with the older animals like the oxen, animals that are 5 years, 8 years, 10 years old. And they would age these for long periods of time. I was not aware of this when I started doing it, but they were the first people that I heard about it was doing it while I was doing it. And there was amazing food writer Jeffrey Steingarten who just like dialed into me. And we did a tasting with one of my culinary heroes, Harold McGee, who wrote the incredible book on food and cooking, which is a scientific manual to all chefs around. He's an amazing guy. And he had put in his book that there's really no difference in flavor when you get to that point. And so that later stage. So we cooked 3 steaks and we cut a cube out of the center of it. And at that point, he says, wait, maybe there is something different. I'm not sure. I mean, nowadays you hear more about it because we're chefs. We like to play with things. We like to push the limits on things. But not many people want to make the commitment because it's so costly to carry the inventory. And they're scared to actually do it because if you screw it up, you lose all the money. So I see more of it now. But back when I was doing it, there really wasn't anybody else pushing the limits. Maybe a few people. I don't want to say like I was the only one, but possibly there could have been a few people, but
Yeah, to never be around other humans.
Do you know what happened to the Unabomber? Do you know how that happened?
The brother?
Yeah.
Because he was pedantic.
Oh yeah, it was that, but it was also the Unabomber himself. Ted Kaczynski was a part of the Harvard LSD studies.
Was he?
Yeah, they cooked his brain.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a documentary about it called The Net.
Someone wrote a great tweet where they go, plot twist, Greta Thunberg grows up to become the Unabomber in a redemption arc. I'm like, that is hilarious. Because he was a violent environmentalist and a very bright man.
He's a professor at Berkeley. So he went to school at Harvard. They put him in the Harvard LSD studies. They cooked his fucking dome. And then he disappeared, went to Berkeley, worked as a professor to earn enough money so he could buy a cabin and implement his plan to kill everybody who was involved in technology so he'd stop this takeover of the human race, which probably is true.
Yeah. John Waters, the director, he has a replica of the Unabomber's cabin as a room in his house. Isn't that great? I love that.
Who's got the real cabin?
Oh, that's a good question.
It was at a museum, I think, that actually just closed, so I don't know where it's going to go now. There was a museum called the Newseum in
New York.
I think it just closed because they couldn't.
Traveling exhibit. Wait, they took the whole cabin and reconstructed it?
I believe I've seen pictures of it. Yeah.
Oh.
We need to find it.
Wow, that's really cool.
We need to find it.
I love stuff like that.
I do too.
I did an article years ago about all these relics. Like, where's Monica Lewinsky's dress? And like she's got it hidden somewhere.
Do you think she does?
Yeah, the article that people did research. She still has it somewhere.
Oh my God! What a nightmare for poor Bill. You get your dick sucked in '94, and this lady's still carrying that jizz-stained dress. Like Jesus Christ, lady, let it go. He's probably going. Well, she's probably throwing it away by now. No, Bill, never.
Listen. Oh wow.
Wow. So
I thought that was a replica.
I mean, it says it was it, and it closed
Holy crap.
last week.
Yeah.
So I don't know where it's at.
Wow.
At the moment.
That is amazing.
They closed last week. I
Storage,
missed it by a week.
Yeah.
Shit, that could have been out here, bro.
Wow.
We could have. That'd probably be an expensive buy. Probably like me and Marilyn Manson
The place had
auctioning
some other
against each
interesting
other.
Things too.
I guess we're just gonna have to mail
Right.
someone a bomb.
He would probably buy it.
Who, Manson?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
that's
that
up his
the
alley.
manifesto?
Yeah, original copy.
That's the original? Holy crap.
That's dark.
Everyone tells me to read it. I haven't read it, but they said it's very smart.
I read parts of it. That's one of the things that's disturbing. It's just like well thought out. And also the argument is sound technology will inevitably lead to better technology, which inevitably leads to artificial intelligence, which is inevitably going to take over the world.
Well, there's that whole singularity thing, right? What's the Ray Kurzweil?
Kurzweil.
And I don't know, I haven't checked in years, but I don't know if we're on track with what he predicted. I think we're supposed to be further along. Because remember in the 50s, there were going to be flying cars, and there's no flying cars.
Yeah. He's a 2045 guy. And what he says is that the exponential increase of technology, if you follow it to
Right.
the prediction is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2045, they'll achieve this singularity.
Yeah, but I think they're also finding now that there actually is somewhat asymptotic, and it does, at a certain point, you are having like physical limitations to increasing the speed, and it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, well, then quantum supremacy comes along. Do you know they're trying to change the name of quantum supremacy because it confuses people with white supremacy, and we really shouldn't support that. So we need to change quantum supremacy.
They also, they had, was it IBM or whatever, had the quantum computer, and the other people were like, this isn't really quantum because it's blah, 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 blah. This was a big controversy just in the last month.
Those quantum people.
I found its new location. After the Montana Historical Society tried to get it, it now exists at this fun place.
The FBI experience.
wow.
Oh, Jesus.
Christ.
They own it. So there's like a new museum.
Interdivisional cooperation. FBI.
Oh my
Dun,
God.
dun, dun.
Just a propaganda house.
Wow.
Oh, God.
So they wanted to get. So he was in Montana when he was blowing
Yeah,
everybody up.
someone tried to buy the land, I guess, or it was for sale at one time. But whoever runs this museum tried to get a hold of it, and I guess the FBI said, we're going to keep it.
Yeah, I can understand why they would want to, right?
Of course, yeah.
It's
Wow.
probably very valuable. People probably will go to the FBI museum specifically just to see that cabin.
No one wants to go to the FBI museum otherwise. Would you go to the FBI museum?
No.
It's gonna be
His brother suspect that he was doing it all
Well, you know
along
why?
before the manifesto, or did he read the manifesto and then?
Well, because the Unabomber, as a kid, was always annoyed by people saying you could have your cake and eat it too. Because he's like, no, it's you can eat your cake and have it too. And the Unabomber used that phrase, air quotes, correctly. And the guy's like, that's my brother. And that's how they figured it out, because he was being a pedantic dick. Yeah. So everyone who's correcting people on spelling on Twitter, you shut up and relax.
Oh, that's crazy. I thought he just recognized the style of writing.
No, I mean, double check me, but I'm 90%
makes
sure
sense.
this is correct.
You're saying that now.
Eat your
that
cake and have it too.
It's actually ringing a bell.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's
But imagine like that if he was a normal guy and they just filled him up with acid and
Yeah.
it made him say, "Oh my God, the technology's going to take over." And he's just tried his calling in life is to kill the people that are advancing technology with bombs.
when you're that smart, you're already kind of tripping, because
Yes.
regular people don't seem like the same thing as you do.
Right. And maybe a little schizophrenic, and then they fill him up with a fucking half a gallon of acid.
Like, how much did they give him? Do you know?
Who knows? They were experimenting with people.
I'm sure it's not going to be small doses.
Do you know what Operation Midnight Climax is?
No.
It's one of my favorite fucked up CIA experiments they ever did. They went to brothels, and they set up a brothel with all these prostitutes and these johns, and they dosed all the guys and used hidden cameras.
And do you know what else?
So, because the guys couldn't talk about it. Because, like, what happened to you, Harry? Somebody gave me a Mickey. They slipped me a Mickey, and I had a bad time. Where'd this happen, Harry? Oh, I don't know. I guess I was at the diner or something. You can't say, I went to the whorehouse trying to get my dick sucked, and they gave me acid, these assholes. You can't say that.
And we've been trained since kindergarten that if someone says the CIA has experimented on regular people, they will tell you, and admitted it, they will tell you with a straight face that that's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
They will just use that word and stop thinking.
Yeah.
And we've been trained for decades. And it's like, wait a minute. We've been hearing 3 years that there was a conspiracy between Trump and the Putin administration. That's a conspiracy, whether it's true or not. Epstein was a conspiracy. He was conspiring with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Weinstein, Bill Cosby. These are all conspiracies that are widely known. But if you, as soon as you hear that term, like racist, oh, conversation's over. I don't need to hear anything else. It's
I don't-
amazing.
Oh, you believe in conspiracy theories? Oh, yeah.
What, 9/11 didn't happen?
Come on. Something up to you. I had this guy on yesterday. This guy who wrote this book, El Narco. His name is Joan Grillo. And he's an investigative journalist who lives in Mexico, and he studies the cartels.
They sell organs.
And what this is one of the things he was saying was that they get these people used to killing, and they were getting these kids and having these kids kill at a young age and dismember people, and they were doing it to get the fear out of their body. So this one guy who they had a nickname for him, Tyson. He was a cop, but he was also in charge of hiring these little kids and training these little kids to be assassins, and he would teach them how to dismember people. And he was going into it and all the things they did and all the beheadings that they did. And he was saying that they'd try to that in certain groups of people, when they have this organization, they try to get them used to horrific acts.
Well, it's called the cement of blood, and that's a Heinrich Himmler term, head of the SS. Is that the SS? Hitler had about 7-8 years before he launched the war, so he got like 12-year-olds ready for war. And they would get them like having fun and swimming and working out and boxing. And then they would, like when they're like 15, give them a super hot hooker and then give them drugs. It's LSD didn't get discovered in Switzerland. Hitler was putting them all on it, DMT, everything. And they would then have these religious experiences and say, you're invincible, you're Superman. This has all been declassified, but it's in more esoteric writings. And so they would get them all wound up, and then to graduate as an SS officer, after you'd had a dog like 5 years, you had to strangle your German Shepherd.
Yeah, that was my friend Ari. His dad was in the Israeli Special Forces, or one branch. Would you remember what branch it was? One branch of the Israeli military, and they had to kill a kitten. They had to raise a kitten and
like, look, Jews are just like anybody else. There's good people, there's bad people. But yeah, Israel, because they got so screwed over by the Nazis, in a lot of sickening ways, has kind of copied a lot of it. And by the way, the Palestinians are trying to kill them and blow them up. My point is that the Nazis got evil down so much that, like, we brought 34,000 in to run NASA, to run the universities.
Operation Paperclip.
Everybody wanted Nazis. They were like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Because they were all robots and would do whatever they were told.
Well, Werner von Braun was absolutely, yeah.
Goddard Space Center. So, yeah.
And he was a Nazi.
So what would happen was, first they gave him sex, they gave him power, they would really pressure him, to go through things. And then they would basically, just condition them to do whatever they were told. And they called it the cement of blood, because then it's just like satanic cults say, kill your dog. I mean, I remember when I was growing up in Rockwell, Texas, I ran into like a satanic cult. I was like, God, this girl's a senior in high school. She's super hot. I'm in ninth grade, and like she's picking me up in her Mercedes, and I'm taking me some mansion. And the sex with her is incredible. And I'm walking out of the house, because I looked like I was about 16 when I was, 13. And the dad goes, you like screwing my daughter? Yeah, I screw her too. Whoa. And just as soon as you join us, you love Lucifer, you get all the hell you want, boy, because we want you. But
what? Really?
Oh yeah, but yeah, man, I've had an incredible life. Look at all the stuff I do now. I mean, look at it. But the point is that hell, you're in LA, you know about all this. But the point is
I don't know about all that.
The point is that then the Satanists, because I never really got into Satanism, they said, well, what do you want? Because I don't want to be, they go, well, we want you to kill your dog.
Whoa. And
so the point is that now, all these years later, kill a loving thing that serves you, cares about you, is interface. Dogs are very psychic. They're psychic buffers. Dogs are able to interface with you. And they want you to take something that's ready to die for you, and they want you to kill that. That's like killing a child. A dog is very similar to a child. Yeah. Very spiritual, very holy, very good. A dog will take on its master's aura, and it can be evil, but Joe, I'm just totally spilling my guts here, because people need to know about all this, and this is what's going on, and this is what's happening. And so they want the cement of blood, is they get people in a group, and they get them to do horrible, evil things during peer pressure, and then they create this synthesis. And you have to know the darker elements of the criminal networks that are inside our government are actually running Mexico as a laboratory test. Because they know Native Americans are gung ho, and they're tough, and they're ready to fight. And I'm part Native American, only like 6% Comanche, and Texas, and just that little bit makes me wild. Yeah. And so they can get them because they're powerful, they're smart, they're neat, they're cool, but genetically they go into groupthink really, really fast. And so Native Americans you can mind control really fast.
Why is that?
Well, it's like Vietnam. I mean, the Bering Land Strait, and basically they test the genetics of Mesoamericans. It's basically Chinese, or Han, because there was always some whites and Vikings even 10,000 years ago going in the area. Nobody in fights like in Korea fighting the Chinese. That's who we're really fighting there, or Vietnam. Do you think they're conscious and real people, but when they get into a fight, they all sync up and are robots and have no fear. I mean, you're talking about psychotic killers you're fighting. And so Asians are about the most fearless killers there are.
Like the Mongols, like the history
Any of them.
the
If you
Mongols
get, I mean,
conquering.
once Asians go to war, it's like they do not. In fact, they're not even crazed going wild in a battle. They're like robots coming to kill you. And so,
what do you think that's from? Do you think that's from their heritage of war, that they have a long, like if you think about Japan has a long history of being a noble warrior culture with the samurais and
it's
all the martial
but you
arts
say,
have
is it
come
from the
there.
nobility? It's the genetics.
Right, but
the genetics is what creates the, it's like 500 of you loading planes to go
That's
kill
what
yourselves.
I'm saying. I mean, think
I
about
agree with you.
what I'm saying is think about a place like Japan where so much martial arts came from. Kendo, sword fighting, karate, a bunch of different branches of karate, judo, jiu-jitsu. Japan. All that stuff came from Japan. I mean, that is a group of people that were obsessed with combat. I mean, they figured out
The ruling
combat.
class was.
Well, not just that, the soldiers and even the civilians.
No, I agree. But the ruling class was
Right.
the samurai,
Yeah.
the shoguns.
The ruling class was the shoguns, right? And when you think about what a small place Japan is and how stunning it is, that so much innovation, especially in terms of like my line of work, martial arts.
I don't get into bell curves because you've got black people that are as smart as any white person, and then you've got black people that are way better at sports or whatever. I mean, there are genetic differences. We're not, and then you've got the head of your former, it was Cold Springs Harbor, Watson, comes out and says blacks aren't human, all that BS. That's just the racist crap that's in the government. But it's true that some groups of Northern Europeans, and then the Japanese, on average, per capita, have the highest IQ. And so they're Japanese, and then there are some Northern Europeans that have the highest IQs. But then you can get into, like, say, Jews have very high IQs on average.
European Jews have an extraordinary high
then they
number
also have
of
a
like
social
Nobel Prize
skill.
winners. And,
It's a bunch of, so there's not just one type of intelligence.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Well, there's tests that you can run in terms of mathematics, but there's no real tests you can run in terms of social
Real test
intelligence.
is psychic connectivity, and they've proven the DNA is a transceiver. And so my skill is, that's why I'm usually kind of like almost autistic, is I'm just being constantly, like everything's going on. But then if I actually focus in, I can like figure out the exact enemy operation. That's why they're really pissed.